And we are live Sunday night with those guys. And Sunday night with those guys is sponsored by those guys.
What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday. How are you? How are you, Herman? What's going on? Hope all is well. What's up, UFO? Time to fly, GSK Enterprise. Feet on the ground. What's good? Rob from Australia. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. You know, today is, Sunday football,
Yeah, it's
got
just
my eye on the game and been on the game all day. Well, not all day. I shouldn't say all day because football starts at 1:00, so that's not all day.
well,
All afternoon.
it's a good part of the day.
All afternoon.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, hold on. Here's Tom coming in. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty good Sunday. I got to fly today.
Hey, Tom.
Justin and I went out to go fly today. What's up,
Okay.
Tom? And the Jets lose with 5. He said, time to fly says, my Jets lose with 5 seconds left in the game. Typical. Chris Hope, how are you? What's going on? UFO, everyone. Feet on the ground, time to fly. JS.
They couldn't have. Hey, Chris Hope, what's good, man? There's no way the Jets lost that game.
That's what he says. Says my Jets lose with 5 seconds left in the game. Typical.
They lost against my Las Vegas Raiders today. What happened? I wasn't watching.
Oh,
happened? I gotta back to silver and black. I mean, if I'm going out there, right?
Well, not you. I'm saying the game. I was watching that. I'm like, never mind.
It's
the Jets, dude.
Like Time to Fly says, it's typical.
Wow.
Hey, Time
you know
to
what?
Fly,
Seriously, I had a conversation with somebody, and I know this is not the platform or the place for it, but somebody needs to start. They need to give an injunction against the Jets and stop them from ruining Trevor Lawrence's career. That young man's coming out of college. They say if he enters the draft, whether this year or next year, he's going to be the first pick. And that means he's going to the Jets either way because the Jets will probably have the first pick in the draft next year.
Hey, Dave Ennis.
I don't know. They should stop him. They should stop the Jets from ruining quarterbacks.
The Jets had first-round picks every year. They still wouldn't nurture any talent. Okay?
Yeah, I know.
That's the problem.
I know.
That's the problem. And it's frustrating, with New York teams.
Roger? How
with
are
the
you,
exception
Roger?
of the Yankees.
They actually were talking about that on Sports Channel. My boss listens to ESPN Sports Channel throughout the day, and I don't keep up with it too much, but they were talking about the fact that the Jets was exactly what Herman said. The Jets goes through players and ruins their career.
Yeah, well, that's not the
literally.
Mets are renowned for that too.
Michael McReynolds, how are you?
But not like the Jets.
Teams.
The Jets have drafted a quarterback in the first round every time they've had a chance to, and they've ruined them. And it's just like, you're not doing anything with these kids. Like you're drafting these young men, and you're not developing them. No. You're changing system after system after system with these young. You're not developing them on the one system. That's not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Now they're looking at
New York sports
quarterback in the last how many years?
Hey, Matt, how are you? Welcome back, Matt.
Even if you're a Cleveland resident and fan, you still look up to your team more than we New Yorkers look up to our Jets.
You know what? It's hey, Ray Kelly, what's up? It's funny you say that.
Well,
it's funny you say that because in New York, you're either for one of two teams. If it's baseball, it's the Yankees or the Mets. If it's football, it's the Jets and the Giants. People forget about the Buffalo Bills, and they do better than the Jets.
New York team. New York team, man.
And most years, they do better than the Jets, right?
With a true following.
That's because teams represent cities and not the state.
Yeah.
And and that's why
we just happen to be named the same as the state. So
now if we could get Buffalo,
somebody studied
here. They're up in Buffalo. That's
right.
If we could
get them, we'll see. That's how that.
No. We don't need them down here.
Yeah, we do. Then we send it.
No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. They've been good recently. They've been progressively sucking in the last 20 to 30 years too.
Mistake on the lake.
Mistake on the lake. Yeah, you know, look, they're hardcore fans, though. You got to give it to
you know,
they're hardcore.
Fans, any
you know,
team got to be that.
You get 10 feet of snow, and it's like that's all. We're still going to the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, New York, 10 feet of snow. We've already moved to Florida. Okay. Big
I ain't going outside. You crazy? I ain't going out there.
Yeah, you have a valid point. You do.
You don't see all that snow out there.
So, Tom, what's up? How was your weekend, man?
Oh, a little rainy yesterday, that's for sure. So
yeah,
didn't get out, and today way too windy to even burn batteries.
So well, today I got to go out today, but it was rough because they said the wind was 17 miles per hour, and I know for a fact I've been out in 30, 40 mile per hour winds, and today felt like it was blowing just as hard as that. Even though they said the wind was 16 what it is, 17.
It's also you had a wind chill of 23, so. Don't laugh at us, Roger. We're lightweights, Canadian. Up in the good old northern neighbor there.
Right back.
Okay.
I saw that video.
Hey, Desmond Donders, how are you?
On your ride on the bike.
Oh yeah, that was the Northern Trailway.
Yeah, nice music.
Thanks, man.
I was like right there on the bike.
I got you, Matt.
Well, you know what it is.
All of that from the 360, or
no, man.
Okay, because I knew you had to have another camera on the other.
Dude, I only wish that was.
That's like how you set that up, man.
I'm my own worst enemy. That's the problem. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Somebody's got to sit and look at all that footage. So that's always the problem. Right?
Did you see that video?
You're right.
Huh? Lawrence, did you see
what happened?
Did you see the video?
No, I didn't. I haven't seen the recent one.
So it's a multi-cam shot.
Tom's whole video, right?
Hey, Matt, I just sent it.
And put it like in the opening of like
that
a movie.
Email. Yeah.
And like how you leading up to like somebody going like, traveling to a spot in like up in the I guess upstate somewhere.
Yeah.
You could take his whole video. Look, that's just what it looked like that.
It's nice
JSK,
intro.
We actually did 26 miles that day. So the entire route is a 22-mile route. So that'd be, 44. We weren't going to master that, but we did a good run. And you know what it is? We turned around. We had I have the 360 camera on a pole, which I'm really struggling with because I've gone through a couple of selfie sticks already. They can't deal with the vibration on the bike. They start to dip. I've already scuffed the lens, which is a lot of fun on a 360 camera. So that I'm trying to master that, right? I have a Osmo Action on a chest strap, so you can see over the handlebar kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I have a Hero Session 5 on my rear rack pointing back to Roz, and she has one on her handlebars facing
so you're
me.
Covering different angles. That's right.
Yeah, you got to see the
now
video.
When I start adding drone
you are a
footage
true creator.
You got to see the video.
Tell you, man. So a 2-hour ride is 8 hours of video to go through. I'm using actually what's really nice is I have this app I use on my workstation called Lossless Cut. I highly recommend it. So, I'll just let the video run in point, out point. So, I'll have three gigs worth of video on a sequence, and I'll cut that down, just pulling out the little clips I want to about 200, 300 meg, and then I get the rest of that crap off the computer because it's just unnecessary overhead. But I wound up, just to start off with, hitting around 500, 600 clips to pick from to put that together, Herman. So, it's more labor love than anything, right? You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for the...
Yeah, you're right. He's the B-roll master.
The B-roll master. Yeah. Hey, look, I'm looking for a whole new following, by the way, okay? I'm looking for everybody who's stuck inside, especially in the winter, on their exercise bikes, And I want to know if there's value there putting out a full 1 hour riding a trail video
Now you know what that would
places,
be,
right?
People do pay
so you
for
can
it.
sit on your exercise
They
bike.
do pay for it.
Have that on their exercise bikes.
Right,
you
but
just
it's a
gotta find
paid
a trail
service.
they don't have, so people can log in and like watch.
But hold on, it's a paid service. If you go to Tom's channel, you could watch
not
it
a paid
and support
service.
him at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, Cardoso.
And you can ride along live while Tom rides from his home all the way up to Albany and come back while you exercise
that I'm
on
not
your
up
bike.
to, bro. Sorry. Unless somebody's following me in a van with replacement batteries, it ain't happening, bro.
What's good, Stevie?
Okay. Stevie, what's up?
Come in?
Eddie, how are you?
Time to come in, Stevie?
Throw them in the knapsack.
If you do, I'll send you an invite.
Those batteries on that bike are 5 and change. Okay.
For the battery.
So for a battery, about $500 to $600 for a new battery.
Yeah. So if you want to do long distance riding,
that's a 48 volt, 16 amp hour battery. Okay. And some people have already
Stevie, I sent the invite.
Mounted a second battery to their rear rack and then came in on a Siamese connection, a parallel connection coming across.
I agree with you, Ray Kelly. B-roll can give you the best video sometime, especially when you're not looking for it. But when you're trying to shoot something else, you often find B-roll footage that's there that you weren't even looking for.
Well, what I really like is being able to come across a bridge and getting the various angles. Various angles coming across the bridge from the various cameras. Now, what I really want to do is get that drone up and do some action tracking and add in a little of that aerial, man.
Yeah.
And you know what the aerial does? It brings in the whole area too.
And then,
but what was really nice about that one, Herman, is we're going through some, up here in the Northeast, some pretty historic areas. Tied to the American Revolution. Yorktown.
And talk a little bit about the spot, or those berries on the tree, and talk about how those and when those berries started growing on those trees.
I sent the link already, Stevie.
It could be a whole new channel.
You know what? Usually I check out your videos, Tom, and this one I didn't get an alert or anything, so maybe it's me. But I was kind of neglecting social media for a few hours the other day. Because it's just
I had a good time. It's like anything else. I'm not telling anybody here who's running a channel how much work putting these videos together are. Okay. But it's got to be a labor of love.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is we get to relive it too. So.
Right. Like for me,
I got a couple more in the pipeline.
When I first started, I wanted to learn how to edit video.
Yeah. I got one coming up for Randall's Island.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a ride over on Randall's Island. We did about 15 miles over on Randall's Island. But editing, you were saying, I mean, that's part of the fun, right?
It's funny because a lot of guys downplay it.
I'm sorry, I was making rice.
Part of video is to be able to edit it.
Otherwise, you're stuck with a pile of pretty heavy files there, right? I mean, that's my whole thing about even still photography. People, I was running a series of photo walks for many years, and I actually had somebody from the job come on the photo walk. And he's a pro photographer. And afterwards he said, "Hey, I want you to critique a couple of my shots." Showed up in my office about a week later, and he handed me a DVD. And I said, "Hey, why are you wasting a DVD on a couple of shots?" He goes, "Because I couldn't fit 600 on a CD." And I took the DVD, I turned around to the trash can, and I dropped it in there. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I don't have time to look at 600 of my shots, let alone look at 600 of yours."
Yeah, for real.
Okay. And the number one mistake of any budding photographer who wants to be a pro, stop showing everybody all your mistakes. Okay, get serious with critiquing your shots. Okay.
Right.
I love Lightroom.
That's it.
Adobe Lightroom, love it. Yeah. Lifelong learning lesson.
I love Lightroom too. There were guys that use other software, but Lightroom seems to
Lightroom,
more user friendly.
Actually,
hey, what's up, Courtney Darlington? What's up, Classic? How are you guys?
Courtney, how are you, man? I just love Lightroom, and the one thing about Lightroom is one thing you got to learn right away is photos are not like wine. So if you go through and you rate your photos, like this is a 1 star, this is a 3 star, this is a 5 star, get rid of everything below a 5 star. Because you know what? No matter how long they sit on your computer, on your hard drive,
they're not going to get any
they're
better.
never going to get better.
Yeah, you know what? It's true. I do that. When I take a lot of photos with my camera drone, I say I take 20 to 30 photos. The ones that I like are usually somewhere within the idea of about 7 to 10 out of those 30. The rest I get rid of. It's just unused space on your hard drive. Doesn't make any sense to keep it there, and unless you just like not deleting stuff like Herman. Herman keeps everything.
I'd rather get one image I would be proud to hang on the wall from shooting 500 shots than get 20 or 30 mediocre shots that I don't know what to do with, right? I mean,
I've seen them, Courtney.
You remember that article, that story you covered on Wednesday?
Which?
The story you covered on the map.
Yes.
I don't throw anything away. Continue.
Don't throw. Yeah. Well, that's true. I sent Herman a story, and when we went back to the site to bring it up, to have it up so we could read or get information from, the story was gone. And then somehow Herman doesn't throw anything away, like I said, and he was able to find the story again, and it was back up on the site. So I'm like, well, what are the odds of that happening? That I actually had a story.
It's called an ID. I'm sorry, Herman. That's called an ID10T code. Okay.
What?
Write that down, by the way. ID10T. It's important to know if you're ever call a help desk.
Oh, ID10T.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't have the problem.
Yeah, I just think he fat fingered the address. That's why he couldn't find it. That's my take on it. Being in IT as long as I have, he fat fingered that.
IT10T. I got to remember that. You said it before, and I couldn't.
Usually the problem in technologies is between the seat and the keyboard. Just remember that.
Yeah, okay. I know. Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah, I know all of that stuff. But anyway, how's everyone doing in the chat? I hope everyone had a good week. You got a story of, I have, 4 stories loaded. That's about all I'm going to do. Hey, what happened, Stevie? You asked me to send you an invite. What are you in makeup? You can afford a makeup person. I thought you were just coming on. But anyway, I was reading an article about the U.S. Army and how they just brought $66 million worth of shadow drones. So for those of you who don't know know about the shadow drone, there's small drones, usually the size of maybe the wingspan of a small bus, I could say. But this company, Textron Systems, that supplies them, has just got a contract from the United States Army for using their drones, $66 million contract to use their drones and technology. Now, Textron Systems has been dealing with the military for over 20 years.
Oh, Textron's in a lot of industries, by the way. Textron's enormous company.
Yes, they're actually called a Textron Group.
Yes.
Usually when you have a company that calls himself a group, they have their hands in everything. Like Disney, the Disney is the Disney Group. And Disney has their hand in
we use Textron for things also on the job.
Oh, get out of here.
So they're in a lot of industries. So, what's significant about these is their loiter time and their surveillance drones. So they're not weapons.
Yes. For those of you who don't know what the drone is, I have some video footage while either Tom or I can keep talking about
drones, it. These drones have been proven, over I think it is like 1.2 million flight hours registered on these drones.
Over 1.2
very successful.
million.
So one thing you might not know is look at this drone, right? realize that this drone can either operate from forward operating bases, okay?
Yes.
Or can be operated by an Apache helicopter. An Apache helicopter can actually operate
Apache helicopter. They can actually hand over control. If I remember, they can hand over control from ground to the Apache helicopter and do
remember,
surveillance.
So with a helicopter, your helicopter in a war theater, your biggest risk is getting picked off, okay, by defenses. So what they now do is they put up a couple of these shadow drones, and Apache comes into the operating theater, takes over up to 2 of these, and they look over the hill for the Apache, acquire the targets, so the Apache can pop up over the hill and deliver the payload.
And right.
And you know what? If the enemy takes out one of these shadows, so be it.
Right.
Okay?
There's no
loss of life.
Risk factor. They say this thing can cruise up to 7 hours at a range.
I think even longer, depending on how it's outfitted. Right. These things, these shadow drones, have been around for a long time. So the great thing about them is they're sensor platforms that they have on board. So visual light, thermal imaging. Okay.
Mm-hmm. They have Tim Jackson says he wants one of those.
Well, we all want one as a toy. Okay.
This
7 hours.
It's actually not that big. You could actually own one if you could use it.
Right. If you have a purpose, you could use one for surveillance if you have property. If you have
operating
land to cover.
Yeah. Just it's
going to be a little more. If you have the ability to use it, I mean, why not?
Just a little more to operate. That's
you got a garage? Yeah, it'll fit.
The control room.
They're not that big.
Right. The control room could fit into your garage. Ain't no damn shadow if you can see it. Well, see, that's just it, Courtney. That's actually not true because the signature imprint, the signature imprint, and the what did they say? The signature imprint and
you're talking about the cross section, the radar cross section.
Yes, the cross section.
Yeah, it's a seagull. Basically.
Yes. Okay. So they would just pick up a seagull moving at about 100 miles per hour. But realize that this thing has an operating range of about 70 miles. Okay, roughly 70 miles, 120 some odd kilometers. So I could live where I live and patrol the beaches of Coney Island.
But these things are used. I believe these things are used for brigade size protection for brigade size companies of about. I guess in the Army, I'm a Navy guy, so if we all fit on the ship, we were part of the same ship. But in the Army, I know I think you're talking about 5,000 soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
That this is basically they can set these up to provide not just the situational awareness, but also provide perimeter security. Okay.
I was watching a movie, not a movie, a video of a pre-flight check that they go through when they bring these things out and set it up. And it's a little. I mean, like I said, when Tim said he'd like to have one, I said, yeah, you could fit it in your house. It's just that you just have to
have a ground crew with 3
to use it. Yeah,
you have to have a ground crew with 3 to assist you. Yeah. Then you got to feed those 3 people. Okay, give them some place to sleep, Tim. So, that's the fly more combo version, by the way.
Right, instead of batteries, it comes with the people.
Yeah. You need the people, otherwise it gets difficult to put that up there. Okay. And if you involve the wife or the girlfriend, it's going to cost you even more.
I'm sorry, I'm finished.
Go with the fly more combo.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 people waiting to join. View. Raymond, admit. Capture life, admit. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't see.
So you've been keeping them in the green room this whole time, huh?
We were just discussing.
Sorry, guys.
On this drone.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure now. Let's say I gotta wait for Stevie to get in because.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Steve? What's up, Herb?
Hey, Ray. What's up?
Hey, Ray. What's up, bro?
What's up, fellas? All right.
Stevie, we were talking about this shadow drone.
Those motors are.
And we agree that if you're thinking about buying the Shadow drone, you got to get the Fly More combo. It comes with a ground crew of 3 to help you manage this thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you show this
computer system to run it?
Yeah, they I don't know. Lawrence, did you show the video
Of which of
the Shadow drone?
The Shadow drone.
Of the Shadow drone. I actually, while we were
you
talking,
can fit it in your house.
And so yes, I have it right here.
Yeah, you just got to put like a 20-foot container in your backyard. That's where the crew will operate out of.
These are them right here, launchable and foldable to fit inside of a truck. That's the control station, which nicely fits into anyone's average size garage.
What?
But being on the back of the truck makes you more mobile.
Yeah, Stevie, he thinks you have a 12-foot tall garage.
It's not a little controller that you set a lanyard on. No.
I'm sorry, that'll take out my garage door opener.
Hold on.
Who are they selling this to? Come on.
The U.S. Army just bought 66. Well,
they just spent 66 million on them.
They just approved a contract for 66 million.
66 million more probably.
Okay. So what that really means is they approved a contract for 66 million. By the time they're done, it's probably going to cost them about 93 million because somebody forgot probably something important like the rear cable. Yeah, the rear cable to the horizontal control surface.
Override course.
Yeah.
Yes. Now keep in mind, these are strictly like Tom was saying, for surveillance. You extend your surveillance range from wherever you are to about 70 miles.
70 miles, yeah.
And also they were showing right here this Apache helicopter on the bottom, because you can hand off control from a control tower here to an Apache helicopter, and they can control up to 2 of these drones at a time.
That's sick.
That Tom was mentioning.
Yeah. So, and that's so important in battleground strategy, because the Apache helicopter, first off, is an amazing machine. Now, when you extend that, you extend its forward view by 50, 60 miles.
Right. So not only can the Apache helicopter see everything down to a small sized bird anyway, but with this as an extension and extra eyes, they would actually say, okay, there's a target 10 miles ahead of us. We can
acquire the target, laser the target.
Yes, exactly.
We're just going to pop up for a minute to deploy the Hellfire and then pop back down below the ridge. Right. Because we don't show up on anybody's radar. And these things, the acoustical.
Right. By the time the Hellfire is halfway there, you don't know what direction it came from.
No. The Hellfire is already down your throat before you realize it. That's it.
It's launch and release. Once you have a laser pinned on something.
So the terminology is fire and forget.
How much is one?
So,
yep. Straight right there. How much is one? Huh?
I would be interested.
Usually, like Navy guys, we call it Fox 1, Splash 1. Okay.
So how many intelligent modes this thing has? Can we orbit and all that?
This definitely has AccuTrack 17.0. 17.0. Okay.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And you'll never see past 6 in your life.
And you won't even see it.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Tim Jackson. I don't think you can order McDonald's with them. But
no, I think if you go to Pro. What are those companies now? Lens Pro to Go or borrowlenses.com. You might be able to rent it for the weekend. To shoot that wedding with. Okay.
That would be something.
To shoot that perfect
wedding mean shoot that wedding with.
From 70 miles out.
Yeah,
right?
That takes on a whole new meaning. Yeah.
You're shooting, huh?
Sorry,
Ray Courtney says was good.
I didn't have the Phantom.
What's up, go ahead.
I brought the Predator instead.
Honestly, I don't think the bride will appreciate when you give her the thermal images of her dancing.
Exactly.
Or her walking into the church.
Hey, anybody catch that Boston Lager commercial at the wedding, where it's your worst cousin comes?
Yeah,
your worst cousin comes to the.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is the funniest commercial.
And he bought a six-pack?
Yeah, he bought a six-pack.
Yeah, he bought a six-pack.
Says how the bride is so so hot.
Yeah.
Okay, but then the next comment is really the winner, so I don't want to spoil it. You got to see that commercial.
Okay. You guys never saw that commercial?
Hey, Mr. Goss, I appreciate it, man. I'd like to see a picture of that bird with those motors on.
Hey, yo,
I'm glad
Tom,
you got
funny
them.
that you mentioned that commercial. That commercial, they had that commercial since last year. That commercial didn't make the Super Bowl last year.
Right,
so
right.
For some reason, they saved it. Yeah.
That was a mistake.
But it was hilarious.
That's a funny damn commercial, man.
They choose another big company. I forgot what company they use over that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Matt? How are you, Matt? Did you make it out to Flushing today, Matt?
No, it was too cold. The wind was terrible.
Wind is crazy.
I was going to say something, man.
Oh, it's only crazy if you got a camera drone.
Ouch. I just got here, Lawrence. You got to give it a few minutes. You got to give it a few minutes.
Coming, right?
I came from
It's just early. That, I don't know. Wait a second. Wait. I'm trying to do the math right now. FPV flyer, camera drone. Oh, damn, he's outnumbered today, isn't he?
Yeah, but he got jokes. He got jokes, though. He got jokes. Listen, I tell you, one of my boys had to do an emergency landing this morning. I wasn't with him.
I saw that.
Yeah, he had to do emergency landing because he was going against the wind in a Mavic 2 Pro. Not a Air 2, not a Mini. A Mavic 2 Pro. He didn't make it back in time, had to land like 12 minutes from where he took off. And it took about 12 minutes driving. He landed in a park. Lucky thing, it was like a sunrise flight, so it was like nobody around.
To claim the booty.
But I tell you, I was planning on getting some video of the Cuomo Bridge this morning.
Yeah.
And when I woke up, I put I set the settings on Terrytown, and I saw 30 mile per hour gust at 100 feet. At 100 feet, I went right back to sleep. I said I'm not gonna bother.
Maybe if the gust was at 100, 10 feet, it was at 1,000.
I wasn't messing around with that. I went right back to sleep, and I'll do it during the week.
But you know what? That's a good point that you raised. So one of the great applications out there that I recommend everybody make sure it's on your device, is UAV Forecast.
Yeah, that's the one.
You don't have to subscribe for $30 a year. Unless you're a maniac and love to know where the each altitude of cloud cover is, but it's a pretty good app. The thing is, you have to set some of the settings. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are two particular settings you got to make a change to right away in UAV Forecast. It's your wind speed and your wind gust. Of course, if you look, it's normally set at 0 feet. Hey, it's nothing down here, bro.
Yes, 10
miles an hour. My drone can do 25, 30, 40. Too. Right, but you do need to set it to at least 200 feet. Okay.
Yeah, I remember. I told everybody in the group about that years ago. But
sometimes they're a little off, though. They're
Oh no, they can be off. They can be off, but I would rather.
Use them, but I like to stick with.
Oh no, you're right, Tom. I'd rather have something than nothing.
You have to have a point of reference. Like if you haven't been taught how to judge wind speed, if you haven't been taught, like when you're standing along the shore, because a lot of us here in New York, we stand by the shore.
Yeah.
Okay. We fly along the shoreline. Learn how to read the waves. Learn how to read white caps.
Yeah.
Learn how to judge by a flag. I mean, guys.
Yes.
If you can't, you might wind up in a situation, right, Stevie? This guy is a competent pilot.
Yep. He's
very. He must have been.
He 11 miles away. It was basically he had to drive up one inlet and come around and come back down another inlet.
Get out of here. Where was this? Where was this at?
Oh, we're on the Jersey Shore
City
area.
Jersey City. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, like Tom said, this guy is a seasoned vet. He knows about getting lower. You know, the lower you go, the less wind. He did everything.
Yes.
I spoke to him privately.
Is a good pilot. Yes.
Yeah, I spoke to him privately in our personal chats through the text, and he did all the procedures that we all know about to kind of beat the wind and get it back, and he still had to land. Yeah, like I said, 12 minutes away.
But you know what he also.
But what Tom did say earlier is that he should have read that UAV.
Well, no, it's not only that though.
No, seriously, because you see, I'm just saying UAV. You see the times that the wind is going to change.
But
you know, within that time, if the wind is not at your back, you're in a situation. That's all I'm just saying.
The thing is DJI will tell you it's time to come back, but they're not going to factor in. They're not going to factor in the wind speed that you're dealing with.
Right.
They're predicting that you have enough time to get back. So it gave him the warning. He started to make his way back, but he wasn't getting no progression going back. It was fighting, and that wind probably was beyond 30 gusts.
How much battery did he have?
That's why when you had asked me like what apps and stuff that I use to check out stuff in areas, when I was telling you about Sky Vector, you're looking at something that's going to give you those NOTAMs that's going to tell you what the weather is projected.
The exact
specific time.
So Herman, you're saying every
no. I'm not saying I'm not saying that every
and their taps prior to
no. What I'm saying to you, I'm not saying to you that every time. I'm saying to you, it's one of the apps that I use, and you can find out that information.
Yeah. What Herman is saying is that shadow drone setup. We need that every session
to get through this weather.
We need to pull up the van.
We won't have to worry about that.
We had to pull up the Batman van.
One important point
and start checking
I want to make is when you are contemplating a flight like he took this morning. He did. We know him. He looks at the whole layout. He's got it down right. He's really good. But here's what changes: Mother Nature. The direction of wind. So one thing I like to do is if I'm flying out someplace, I want to make sure, the wind is at my back.
Always.
Okay. And I got a good,
especially if you're flying into it,
taking me out to where I want to go. Now, my only hope is I have a tailwind to bring me back. And that's not the case. So instead of that, fly into a headwind.
They tell
use as much battery as you need to get there.
A few of the people that I teach to fly, I actually teach them to take off into the wind.
You have into the wind. It's worked for Navy pilots all this time. Okay. Well, the only way you get off an aircraft carrier is flying into the wind. So,
and again,
one thing
you're going to see that arrow. They're going to tell you.
Also,
I agree, Eddie Nunez.
Play with these DJI drones too much. You know, a lot of guys push the boundaries of these drones. I'm not saying that that's what he was doing.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that I try not to do that too much because.
How many range test videos are there on YouTube?
What happened?
How many range test videos are there on YouTube? You're talking about people pressing their luck, right?
Oh, there's several.
So I agree. Yeah.
There's several, and and they got a lot of hits.
Well, Eddie Nunez says this basically 2020 was a bad year for drone pilots. People's batteries puffing up, drones dropping. Yeah,
but it's also Herman's right. People take a lot of risks too.
I don't play with these things because you're responsible for somebody else's application, man.
I can tell you the best app for basically wind.
Rick Halber, how are you?
Basically, the wind go like that, and then you put your hand up.
Old school.
I saw that in a movie
before DJI.
Yeah.
That's how you know if the wind is behind you.
Exactly.
You gotta lick that finger and
look. Everybody has it.
That's what I said earlier.
Y'all know where I work at. I got the flags. I got the white caps. I got the boats. I see everything.
Yeah, flags.
I see everything.
Flags. Watch birds in the sky.
They'd be erect.
Watch birds in the sky, how they fly. Seagulls, and how they ride the currents.
Good me up.
You'll notice which way the wind is
coming
from.
Seagulls are the only birds that are going to fly in high winds. You won't see those little birds flying in high winds.
Seagulls are the kites of the aviary world, right?
They don't flap
They be hovering like.
I want to point out something.
They're looking for that next French fry hanging in your hand.
If you see seagulls just hovering and floating,
not even flapping,
it's windy.
It's windy. It's windy.
If you see white caps on water, it's usually windy.
And remember, the difference between a seagull and your Mavic is everything is home for a seagull.
Hey, Fly Guy Merrill.
Okay? Now, in this case here, our friend came within feet of that shoreline this morning. So here's what I want to say about it, though.
It was that close on the landing, huh?
Like Lawrence was saying before, and pretty much everybody's in agreement. We're flying over the river for the most part when we're in New York City, or in New Jersey. And now you have no coverage from the buildings.
Yeah,
those winds are at their strongest over the river
pockets
because there's no resistance
over that harbor area
from the buildings, etc.
Yeah.
So, but he's
100%.
flying over the water. Lucky thing he brought it back to land, and he was able to recover.
And there's something to be said about what he did also. Now keep something in mind. How many times you've been up there and all of a sudden things aren't going right? The worst thing you can do is panic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Panic.
So what he did this morning was he figured, okay, where am I going to go? He could have kept trying to come home. Okay. Where he landed was not necessarily the direct path to get him back home.
Because
it was the direct path to get him back to land.
Right, safely. Yeah.
Okay.
Safe zone, exactly.
Right. So maintain your composure. By the way, on the part 107, and by the way, on the part 61 and 91 for pilots, manned aircraft pilots, risk management. You got to maintain your composure. Yes. You got to think through what your options are. Okay. I've landed away from where the home point was because all of a sudden the home point wasn't where it was anymore. Okay. So you gotta use your head and stay with the situation until you can bring it to the proper end.
He did one of the smart things. He brought that map up. He was on that map. That was smart of him to bring that map up.
And people don't even know to use that map down in that corner.
I know.
Okay.
I know. People forget.
Yeah, Matt, I tell you, I fly with my map. Matt, I tell you, I fly with my map. I don't fly with the drone. I fly with my map. Tell him, Matt.
Guys want to fly at night.
I want to put out the perfect example, Tom, by remaining calm. I've been in certain situations where people came out here to fly where I fly. And I'm not going to mention who the person is, but we were flying in a prior spot. Everything was fine. We decided to go to the second spot. We get there, and this gentleman did not adjust his, calibrate his bird for the new spot. And when he took off, the bird it was a Mavic 2 Pro also just took off and started veering off like this. The guy looks at me and says, I can't control my bird. What am I supposed to do? Now it's drifting away. He hands me the remote. Hands me the remote.
Give it to the pros. Give it to the
fortunately, I know how to fly without GPS on. So it's just a matter of turning the drone around and angling it against the direction it's going until you maintain control. What happened, and you guys may have experienced this, but with any Mavic series, if you lose GPS, it goes into
Addy mode.
I call fake ass Addy mode, because if it was real Addy mode, at least you would have better control. Those Mavics don't have any.
You know what's funny?
Control.
Everybody in here had a Phantom 4 Pro, so we know about Addy mode.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Everybody here.
Global
everybody
drone.
In this group. Switch
Global drone hit it right on the head.
Mode. Yep.
Panic is blinding. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's right. Global drone. You're 100% correct. Panic.
Bob
is
Casey,
blinding.
how are you?
And Lawrence, I've seen that so many times that people put their drones up, DJI drones, and they tend to drift, like they just not connecting right, and they on the right settings, but they just either drift to the left or drift to the right.
Stevie, I said I think it was last week. I was burning a couple of batteries with Eddie at Flushing, and right away Eddie said the guy that just walked into the park sitting on the side with his significant other, right away picked him out as a new flyer. Why? Because the guy already had the drone up in the air and he was still trying to connect his phone to the controller.
Are you serious?
Okay.
Oh yeah, you did mention that.
Terrible.
You know, that's the worst time to have a flyaway, when you got the phone in this hand and the controller in that hand, and there's no cable between them. So, you know, but you can fly a drone without a phone, by the way.
All the time.
Okay.
It better be line of sight.
It better be line of sight, and you better know how. Don't wait for it to happen before you figure out whether you can do it or not.
Well,
and that's what part of the experimenting is like, hey, Rick, how are you? Turn around and get.
That's right.
You know, I don't know. When I put my drone up in the air, the first thing I do is.
Hold on, we got a question here. Just me up. He's an FPV flyer. He doesn't know what Addy mode is. He's asking what is Addy mode.
And you said he is an FPV flyer, or he's a camera drone?
He is an FPV flyer.
That would be like
straight FPV, nothing DJI camera drone.
So we'll let you handle that question then. You're the only FPV guy here.
You're the FPV guy.
Explain it to another FPV guy. We're just camera drone guys.
All right.
We
if
don't
you
have
want
that
me
skill.
to explain it to you, all right, just me up.
Yeah, Tom.
You have two modes of flight. You have with camera drones. You have GPS mode and ADI mode, which is free drift. GPS mode, when enough satellites, I'm not saying satellites, but you have to have a certain amount of satellites depending on that particular drone, where GPS will lock the drone into position. Okay. Now, what ADI mode is it happens randomly, but what ADI mode is, in the event that you lose GPS, that GPS lock, if you take your hands off the control, GPS, you will hover there. But in ADI mode, you'll drift in whatever direction the wind is going or whatever direction you're heading. You could be moving and ADI mode will kick in. You'll lose all your satellites. And ADI mode is okay. In GPS, if I'm moving like this and I take my hands off the control, in GPS, it stops on a dime. In ADI mode, you take your hand off the control and it keeps going. ADI mode is more like free flying, almost. And almost
I'll have both of those modes on my brand new
with a little
DJI
taste of
FPV
GPS.
drone.
Yes, it's a little bit of FPV actually, because if you're cruising this way at 10 miles per hour and in ADI mode, and you take your hand off the stick, it's like a bus. It's going to slow down before it stops. It's not going to stop on a dime. I don't know if I explained it well enough, but that's as close as I could.
Also, it gives you total control of the sticks and every function of the drone. When you switch, like with the Phantom drones, and you switch into that's why you hear guys always tell you that flyaway is a GPS error.
Yes, yes.
And your drone is now flying away from you. But if you had an ADI mode switch on your drone,
right,
you could switch that drone.
Plus,
I got to tell you where else it is. Mavic 2 Enterprise, because we fought for a long time. When the Mavic 2 Enterprise came out, it did not have ADI mode.
When the Enterprise?
Yes.
When the Enterprise version came out, it did not have ADI mode.
Okay.
We had to make a lot of noise to get it through the pilot firmware updates and through the Enterprise.
Just Mihab, you said it's just like it's close to Horizon mode. Correct. Now, Horizon mode, no matter where you are, upside down or whatever, you flick to Horizon mode and it stabilizes you. It's that minus the GPS lock. Because in FPV Horizon mode, it'll straighten you out.
You can still drift.
You can still drift and fall from the sky. So imagine,
but you know what?
The DJI drone that's coming out now, which will have acro, Horizon mode, and GPS mode. So supposedly, if you have Horizon and GPS mode in this DJI bird, if I'm flying upside down like this or sideways, and I get scared and I hit that GPS, it's supposed to write out that bird and lock her in position where she is.
So ADI mode is a safety feature. I consider ADI mode a safety feature.
Yes.
That should be on every drone. Yes. Because when you have a flyaway with GPS, you're no longer in control.
Okay.
Exactly.
You got to be able to switch into ADI mode. Now, let me make a point. Without ADI mode on your current drones that you have, you do have an option that you can employ, and nobody ever thinks about it. There's a button on your remote that looks like a button on your DVD player. Okay, it looks like a button on a lot of different things. It's called a pause button. Okay, nobody ever uses it. The pause button can sometimes get you out of a flyaway. Okay,
what it would do, it will stop your drone and get your GPS back. But I heard
it'll stop. It'll
but
stop
you're talking
your
for
drone.
Mavic 2 series
it might
flyers.
Not get your GPS
Mavic
back,
series
but it'll
flyers.
give you a minute to think about.
You're talking about your Mavic 2 flyers, because we don't worry about that with Phantom 4s.
Bro, I got them both.
Look. Don't make me go get my Phantom 4 right now, okay? And prove my membership in the club.
Like 20 minutes.
Okay? Yeah.
I always got mine at my exposure, my left and my right. Bang, bang. I can grab it in a second.
I think I'm getting a beer out of the fridge any minute now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's good. It's good that you actually asked that, Mihop, because when I teach people how to fly a camera drone, I always teach them without GPS. I don't even teach them with a GPS bird. I have a little cheap drone that's crashable. You know, it has a little small battery, and I teach them up and down, back and forth, and how to hover. And then you know what they do? They get pissed off about the second lesson when I introduce them with GPS drones, because they say, "Why the hell didn't you tell me that it flies like this?" And the reason I tell them is because if you lose GPS, you won't know what to do. You will not know what to do.
Well, that's the thing. That's the whole thing with fighting for it on the enterprise versions, because when you're in public safety and you have a drone that can potentially fly away from you, you just added to the disaster situation. You haven't helped it any.
Yeah.
So, you want ADI mode. You want to be able to take control. Plus, the training the pilots have to go through in order to fly these aircraft. We want to train them in ADI mode first. You are 100% correct. You don't want to train them in GPS mode. It's a comfortable place to be. But like anything else, if you sit on the couch too long, you know how big your rear end gets. Okay. And then you don't know how to do anything else with that body. So you got to learn how to fly the drone without the help.
And then introduce the help. Your second question, Mihop, why do camera drones sound different from FPV? I can tell you it has more to do with thrust to weight ratio. Thrust to weight ratios. Camera drones are more. Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead. I'm just going to
say camera drones have request more control than an FPV drone.
Camera drones are making more split-second changes, okay, to the pitch of those motors, and that's why you have that, and that kind of leads in and segues into another story about the Embry-Riddle and their students,
which is actually right. Electrical noise. We have a story here that we were going to talk about.
The noise produced by electric motors, right?
All of these, but first we have to segue by introducing all of these drone companies, that by talking about all these drone companies, these taxi drone companies, 90% to even 95% of them are using electric motors. Now, for those of you who don't know, anything that runs on electricity emits different sounds from something that's gas powered.
But what's more significant here, Lawrence, is the fact that, okay, so we're gonna have people in the room that go, yeah, but my Tesla doesn't make any noise. Yeah, your Tesla doesn't have 4 spinning props cutting through the air. Okay, so there's an issue here. Pilots have or aircraft that pilots fly can either have a fixed pitch propeller or what's known as a constant speed propeller, meaning you can change the angle or the pitch
which
of the
affects the sound
propeller
and performance.
Blades. Absolutely, performance is a big one, because if you're not cutting through the air properly, normally in an aircraft, your engine RPM has to spin up even higher to try to affect that inertia, where you could actually overspin your engine. Bad thing to do while you're sitting in an aircraft.
This story that, like Tom was saying, we're segueing into, there's a company called Vertigo, who actually is a tenant on Embry-Riddle's campus. So they do a lot of testing, aeronautic testing. Now, the main part of the story is about the fact that we're going to have all these drones in the air, and these electric motors, all electric motors, spin faster and at a higher rate than standard motors, which cause, how would you say, a sonic effect or an audio effect?
Yeah, there's a pitch.
Those passenger drones, you'll know when one's coming through because the props are spinning so fast, they actually change the air pressure
Yeah, you'll hear it before it gets.
Yes, you'll hear it, Miles. If you've heard a Huey helicopter or
those are
two or more of them coming from a distance, those props are.
So that's a thump, 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 thump type of sound.
Yes.
What it's going to sound like with all of these UAVs overhead is we're under attack from killer hornets.
Killer hornets.
And just think about how unsettling. Well, yeah. Think about how unsettling the sound is for us. But if you have a pet at home, Courtney, what do you got? 3 monsters at home, right, Courtney?
Yeah.
You know,
they'll hear that thing miles away.
They will hear it, and it will be quite annoying to them.
That's going to be
right. So now this company, Vertical Arrow, and Embry-Riddle have teamed up to come up with a device that mitigates electric aircraft noise. So for every one of these propped cargo drones, all of this stuff that's going to be in the air, they're saying that they need to get together and come up with some kind of engine that's going to cancel out that noise.
Well, it'll be some intelligence built into a prop pitch controller. So you're talking about the props, whether it's 3 or 2, being able to vary their pitch and their cut into the wind to reduce that noise.
Right.
So that'll, you're talking about it's complete fly-by-wire. Basically, you're sending a signal to the drone. That's all you got to do. But the drone, through its AI, figures out to minimize the amount of noise. How should I pitch the blades and how quickly should I spin those motors? And in combination with that, that's how they would wind up reducing it. So what they have right now is they've already done the research where they have a patent pending on this technology. Now they just got to flesh it out and realize it. So Embry-Riddle, for those of you that don't know, is the aeronautical university, so to speak.
Yes,
with a very large. A lot of research comes out of there. Okay,
Tom,
it's both from the engineering side and from the operator side.
Well, you mentioned that though, Tom, because I did a story on them once before.
Yeah, on
the Turtle Tech program that they launched, where they were, doing survey on all of the different species of turtles, and because turtles in the United States are endangered, so we have to protect our turtles, and they actually this program provided paying jobs for the students in the school. So I find this college is doing some really big things, especially in the UAV field, and they
early adopter, Embry-Riddle, early adopter. Yeah. Actually, I took some training from them on UAV stuff. Okay. They're right in the middle of it, so it's good to see them out there. And again, their research projects foster these builds, and these companies actually grow out of that. It's not much different than like MIT. Okay, we have these little companies that get born out of MIT because these students are coming through on their research projects, and before you know it, they've invented something that has a place.
Well, Tom, I have the perfect example that, and it was in the article. I just forgot it was in here while I was scrolling down. But you remember that movie in the 1980s? They had an attack helicopter called Blue Thunder, and this helicopter would come up, or it would go into chase mode, and he would flick a switch, and it would go into silent mode. Right, you remember that? Yeah. You remember that, right? Well, that's what this same technology, Vertical Arrow and Embry-Riddle are trying to create, because right now, as you know it, on all UAS devices, the props are fixed. Yeah. So to have that ability to adjust the props and trim the props, is
trim the props.
There's a tongue twister, man.
You wasn't getting away with that one.
Let's when are we doing a drop? We got to.
We could do one right now, actually, and then after that drop, I apologize if you guys see a commercial. Some of you will, some of you won't. YouTube gave me this commercial. In fact, let me show you right here. Because some people are like,
let's
what
do
the
a
hell is
drop
he
and
talking
do the
about?
commercial.
Right
There you
here,
go.
right here is a button they give you to insert an ad, but they suggest that you do it every 15 minutes. I'm not on it like
Yes,
that.
they
I like
do.
to at least try and do one an hour, at least.
I bet
So
they do tell you to
Hey,
do.
Ray, I'm just saying, if he's doing one every 15 minutes, where's our cut, bro?
Was our cut, yeah, because that's
Yeah.
a drop. That's some dropping right there. Baby.
well, I'm not.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's do this drop real quick.
Mm.
All right, Sunday Nights with Those Guys is sponsored by
Those
Guys.
guys.
We appreciate you coming through. We have a live stream every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Phantom Flight 101's channel every Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now,
And this week, Wednesday, we will be featuring a shot and a drop, not drop
What?
and a shot.
Uh-oh.
See,
Uh-oh.
you got to do these on Sundays, dude. Okay? You got me in the middle of the work week.
Wednesday is the best day for it.
Whoa, that's your day,
Well,
huh?
Tell them
Yeah,
what's
I
Wednesday,
have
Lawrence.
some
Tell
great
them about
news. I have
Wednesday,
the
Lawrence.
best
Fill them in on Wednesday, Lawrence. Fill them in.
I have the best news right now. Lawrence, thanks very much. But
I
me and Ray are
wasn't
going to have
actually
our
going to.
live stream. It's
What
going-
happened?
Fill them
Me
in
and
on-
Ray are going to have our live stream. We're working out the ins and outs. We're going to have our
Good.
live.
Good.
Oh,
We
word?
need more. We need more live streams coming out of New
Yes.
York, since the
That's
world
dope.
thinks you can't fly drones here, which we've
Yeah.
obviously proven that you can, and you can do it legally.
But
So
with restrictions and being safe and all of that stuff, you know.
yes,
It's in the works and it's coming. It's
Yeah.
We
Good
just gonna
deal.
do something
Good
a little
deal,
bit
Matt.
different. Something a little bit different.
All
That's
right.
it. You know?
That's good. All right. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Something a little bit
Okay,
different.
well,
Let me know when we
and-
going to launch.
We
Hey,
took
Ray-
a little bit from this
Ray and
show,
Matt.
took a little bit from all the shows, you know.
I just want to get paid scale for my guest appearances.
You
Okay,
got
that's
it.
all.
You got it.
What's your drink?
What's your drink
I'm
of
getting
choice?
scale right now.
What's your
Okay?
drink
What's
of
your drink
choice?
of
Scale
choice?
right now.
he
You
said,
like a Scotsman.
what's your drink of
You
choice?
like a Scotsman.
What's your drink of choice?
No more, man. No more.
Oh,
For
man.
me,
90
a
proof.
craft. Now a craft.
Oh man, he got the JD in a square bottle. Oh baby.
I'm just.
That's the 90 proof one right here.
Ooh,
Dude.
90. Oh my God.
Yo, I
Can't
never
do
drink
it
a
no
day
more,
in my
bro.
life. Never drink beer, wine, liquor ever in my life. I mean, never
Well-
put it to my mouth. But check this out.
Me,
Over
a
in my
craft
bar,
beer.
I got some Johnny Walker black, red, blue, green. I got the whole Johnny family over there.
Blue, baby, blue.
Yeah, and I don't even drink.
Gotta
yo.
see blue. No,
Mhm.
I haven't had hard liquor in probably 20-something years.
Well,
To me, a good craft beer is all I need.
All
There
right.
you
Well,
go.
if you save a craft beer for Wednesday, because Herman kind of brought it up, and I was going to leave it to the last minute to mention it, but Wednesday I'm getting a year older, so that's
Oh,
why
there we go.
it'll be my
Okay.
birthday Wednesday.
There we go. He's trying to
December
play
9th.
catch up.
Huh?
So when y'all
Trying to
going,
play catch up. Yeah.
when y'all
Okay.
going for shot in the drop, I'm gonna go off for a split second and come back. All right.
Okay, we got you. We got you definitely.
He's gonna
So
be doing
right
a shot.
back.
He's gonna be doing a deposit.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
but
It's called
make
gag.
sure you guys come through. Make sure you come through on Wednesday. I'll probably be a little inebriated from earlier
Yeah,
days.
no moonshine.
Yeah. Watch out for that stuff.
He said no moonshine.
No
No
moonshine.
moonshine.
What's up, Night Train? No moonshine for me until later on after the New Year. I had it before Christmas, and that didn't turn out too well. Why y'all messing with me? But anyway, just make sure you come to Herman's live stream. We'll definitely be doing a couple of drops in the shot. I presume, you know.
Oh yeah.
Bring my cup out of the fridge, please. And so just do that. But I want to get into the next story. The next story actually is the title of the live stream, Drones for Wildfires and Wildlife. Now, you guys know that this has been a historic year. Thank you. A historic year for fires out in California and along the West Coast. They kind of estimated it to be almost 8.5 million acres that have burned, and they have another major one out there burning now, getting bigger because of the winds coming off the Pacific and then coming back over the waterline. But anyway, there is a company. What the hell is the name of this place? Oh, see, I messed up. I lost my spot. There's a company that's paid to go out in the forest and burn certain areas naturally. But due to budget cuts, they have not been able to do this. Due to the fires and everything else that's been going on, for some reason, they seem to haven't been able to do controlled burns for the last couple of years.
Well,
Now,
also Department of Interior has grounded all their Chinese-made drones. So you don't even know where the areas you have to do this. So basically, it's a technique where you start a fire to stop a fire.
Correct.
It's well proven. It works very well. You're clearing brush, okay? You're clearing out brush, which is highly combustible, and you're creating a fire break by doing this. And the Department of Interior and the U.S. Forestry Service has been using DJI drones for many years to survey these lands and identify those fire break areas.
Yes.
And because of the landing of that, and because of now the increased the increased frequency of these wildfires, this company who normally would go out there and try to help manage it can't, because you can't create fire breaks like that the same way during an active wildfire. That's why you have to put what's known as smoke jumpers on the ground to create those fires.
Jump into the middle of fires or dry spots and hope to create these fire breaks and or actual fires to fight the fires. But like Tom mentioned, they are using DJI drones out there, not only to monitor all of this and see through smoke using LiDAR and other types of equipment, but they actually have a drone, and this is a picture of it. I don't know if this is the Matrice 300. I don't know the Matrice series, but this particular Matrice, I can't make the picture any bigger, but if you can see it, these little balls they actually drop from the drone. They drop from the drone and explode and start small fires. Oh, that is the 600. That's the bigger model.
Because that's 600.
There's the 3 antennas.
I can't see the photo. Hold on.
See,
let me go to the computer. 1 second.
I'm trying to. For some reason, it won't let me blow the picture up. Hold it.
Okay. Yeah. That appears to be an S600 with the 3
Hold on.
GPS antennas.
I have it right now. I should be able to pull it up even bigger.
Yeah, so those are
the Department of Interior, but I read an article where they were talking about the things that I had also mentioned in one of the streams, that there was an exception that
there we go,
allowing for them because they had to use them for this situation.
Well, this is exactly the point of the story.
That's the problem.
They also mentioned something about them having to make sure that the data was secure. And that was one of the procedures that they had to follow to be able to use these Chinese-made drones. There was an allowance made by the Department of Interior. They did for
this company to use them, but not for the Department of Interior to fly theirs, which is significant because it's the flight of the DOI drones that map out these areas that this company actually responds to. What you're seeing there, those little ping pong balls, okay, they're not decorated
let me pull
way.
it back, pull a picture back up real quick while you're talking about that, because
there's two those little things you see
they're
that
separated in halves, right?
Pink and white. Yeah, there's 2 different halves to those because there's 2 different combustible agents in there. When combined, will cause a fire.
Yes.
So when they hit the ground, they break open, it mixes, and you have a fire. And it'll burn the underbrush, okay, which is what you need to do to create a fire break.
Right. Now, I just thought that it was an interesting story because why weren't they doing this before? Because like you said, they have to use fire jumpers to fly over the fire, find an empty spot to land in, and get them in.
Okay, so here's a crazy thing, and if you've ever seen New York City firefighters running into burning buildings while everybody else is running out, including the rats, these are guys and women who jump into wildfires, parachute into wildfires, okay? Smoke jumpers. Incredible feat of bravery.
Yeah.
Just think about it, man.
And
you're going into an inferno. You're going into Hades.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And the risk factor that you're supposed to be able to get in and get out. One of the recent fires that they had maybe about a month ago, I had saw in the news how some jumpers had jumped in and they created their break, but they could not get out. So until the helicopters came, they actually pulled out like this Mylar or reflective sleeping bag and climbed inside them, which is supposed to help reflect the heat
fire
away.
blanket. It's a fire blanket. Yeah.
Okay. But I know it reflects the heat. I thought that was pretty interesting. But they did show that the people were rescued. You know, they were rescued, but the heat was getting so intense, they had to get under these blankets to until a helicopter could get close enough to rescue them. But this drone will actually do the job of several people.
Well, and here's why that's so important. You know, back on
and you want to
June
talk
30th,
about drones for good.
Well, on June 30th of 2013, 19 smoke jumpers lost their lives in Prescott, Arizona, fighting the Yarnell Hill fire. They were trapped inside the Inferno. 19 firefighters all perished together.
And
okay, so wherever you can use drones as a force multiplier.
Hey,
right?
Recovery, how are you?
To extend the capability of these public safety providers, keep them out of risk, put the drones in risk. Okay, put drones in harm's way.
And on top of this great feature that they're using drones, these drones can see through the smoke. The humans can't.
Yeah, sure.
You know, these drones while flying can tell you there's another hot spot starting over here.
Well, that's been a really big deal during these fires of late, especially since they've been so smoky. The incident commanders can't tell where the actual fire line is,
right,
and which direction it's heading in because of the smoke cover. Okay, you've even seen pictures of LA where there's smoke hanging over LA. Okay, there's smoke hanging over all of portions, especially northern portions of California. So if you can't, your visibility is cut down in the city. Imagine when you are within proximity of these fires.
True.
That fire is heavy. It's black. It's acrid, and you need to be able to see through it to figure out which direction is it heading in. Is it going up this hill?
And the only way to
towards the natural break, or is it coming down towards that residential area? The sooner you can get that information, the sooner you can start making decisions on how you're going to attack it. So look at drones as being a force multiplier. You can't get firefighters in there to see what's going on. So get the drones in there to see.
They're actually doing a better job because at one time and point, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but if there was a satellite in the area, they would actually try to use satellites to look at the fire and gauge which direction it was going due to wind. But now you have drones that can actually get closer and give you more accurate picture of where the fire is going. And I just thought it was a good story. I'd like to have a drone that drop little fireballs.
You know what's funny?
No, we want to keep that one away from you. Okay.
No, it's a good story. Lawrence, no, you're right. It is a good story because if you remember, mentioned Drone Seed.
Yes.
And how they got
another story done by you.
For seeding the forest.
Yeah, after these big fires out west.
Right.
Because it's like you said, it's been a horrible year.
You could, Curtis. You could actually fire. Curtis says you can fire those balls from a helicopter, which would give you longer time and flight, but less accuracy.
No, but less accuracy. Okay, so think about this ball is like a ping pong ball. Have you ever thrown a ping pong ball up in the outdoors?
It's only going to go, but so far. It's going to go, but so far.
It's going to go wherever it wants to go, not where you need it to go. So that's why a drone is better. You can get in within 100, 150, 200 feet.
A lot more
helicopter,
accurate.
Look, in a smoky condition, you do not want to get that engine's helicopter anywhere in that smoke. Okay?
Right, because it can't
Because
breathe.
There's an important thing. Oxygen is required to combust.
Right,
to
keep that engine going.
Engine.
And if there's smoke there.
If you deprive it of oxygen, just like you deprive yourself of oxygen, you don't survive. Helicopter falls out of the sky. So that's why you can't really use a helicopter to pinpoint down your deployment area.
It's still a good concept, but the accuracy of the prop wash from the copter would be an issue. Whereas this
spraying those suckers all over the place.
The drop radius those balls are needed are far enough away from the prop wash that they can drop it accurately within several hundred feet. Like you said, the fires make their own wind, which it makes it hard to tell.
Yes, absolutely.
When and where it goes.
So fire is a life of itself. It talks to you. It talks to you. It sings to you. And then it comes in and it takes you.
Global Drone says insightful, Tom.
It's fire is a scary beast.
Well, it's 6:14. We're gonna do like we did last week. I think I'm gonna start doing this on the regular, and we may carry on until about 6:30, which is actually good. Everybody gets off a little earlier, and I'm kind of liking that time schedule, an hour and a half, because for some reason, when Herman does his news, it goes from the beginning to the end of the stream, and I kind of rush into mine sometimes, or I don't know.
Well, Herman tries to get us to go squirrel early,
right,
and then control us. Okay.
Well, the problem
You're leaving us too much room at the end to go squirrel.
The problem is you don't have the broadcast director that I have.
Oh, that's what it is. So I have to pay someone. I have to pay a director. Oh, okay. Or slow down, right? Or slow down. That's what it is. I need a broadcast director.
By the way, where's Paul today? Is there a sale up on Amazon or something I missed?
No. It's
okay. I just putting the word out there. Hey, Paul, how you doing, bro? But look, we've covered some great stories, man. But what's really nice is the people that we're meeting here, the people we're meeting in the chat.
Now, the fact that Mihop asked that question, what is Addy mode? That I've never had anyone ask that, and that was a good freaking question.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is coming from, he flies FPV. He's hard body FPV, and a majority of the people that come to these live streams are camera drone pilots.
Well, see,
until the DJI FPV drone comes out, I don't know about you, Stevie, but I think we'll increase the ranks of we'll call ourselves FPVs, okay?
Okay.
We'll see. How you feel about that drone?
Don't realize though, Lawrence,
I'm looking for it.
Mode, just because your drone went into a flyway, that doesn't mean you went into Addy mode. That's
true. That's true.
No.
That is very,
totally
very
different,
true.
Totally different.
And a perfect example is what Stevie was talking about.
To flip into Addy mode.
You want to be able to go into Addy mode.
That switch, click, and flipping it into Addy mode.
You can bring GPS there.
GPS from the drone completely.
Yeah.
The difference between trigger and Addy mode because something happened to your drone where you got an issue, magnetic interference or something like that. That's something totally different.
Well,
yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad the conversation went in that direction because I think you helped a lot of people with these DJI drones. They don't know what to do.
But even if
the first thing they do is panic, and that was one subject that we touched on.
Honestly,
don't panic.
Put it back on the drone controller.
Well, Stevie, you want to know what?
Yeah. It would be good to have them put it back on the controller.
This applies to every drone with GPS because my first drone that I owned was a Hubsan H501S Advanced, and the Hubsan drones. If you ask anyone who owns a Hubsan, they're known for the toilet bowl swirl of death. They call it. And what happens if it's not calibrated right and there's too much metal? You know how drones take off and hover? It starts doing like this in a small spiral, and the spiral gets bigger and bigger. Now, if you don't notice that this drone is doing this, it will eventually hit you or any object as the circle.
So Tim Jackson, that's clockwise in the northern hemisphere, counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere.
Yes.
Okay.
But the toilet bowl effect. What do they call it? The ring of death. It's the ring of death. It will do a circle, a small spiral, and with Hubsan drones, if you did not calculate that drone perfectly, there's a chance it may not come back. Or you could hit return home and it'll take off in another direction at top speed, away from home.
See, with things like Addy
so
mode,
it can happen, but it can happen to other GPS drones.
I would love them to put Addy mode as a physical switch on the controller, right?
Yes.
But with that comes the need for you to learn how to fly that aircraft relatively, okay? And understand that it's just like when we tell new flyers, when you put that drone on the ground, face it away from you. So when you take it off the first time, the controls,
you're right, Curtis.
Okay,
Curtis is
are in the correct, attitude. But when you have the drone facing towards you and it takes off, and you hit the wrong thing and it flies towards you, you're not going to know to pull the stick back because it's flying towards you. You're going to think push the stick forward, and it's going to come at you quicker. Right. So, Addy mode, just having it on there as a switch, will definitely require them to make a DJI refresh a requirement. Okay.
Yes.
But you should learn how to fly with Addy mode. And like Herman said, having a switch on there is completely different than having to put it in because of an emergency situation. If you have to put it in there as an emergency situation and that's the first time you did it, kiss your drone goodbye.
Well, no, I'm saying
practice.
If it triggers because of magnetic interference or something like that, that's totally different than you switching it into Addy mode.
Right. But the thing here that I'm trying to make a point of is preparedness.
Right. I get
Being prepared to operate the drone that way. Being prepared to hit the pause button. Being prepared to, even when you first take off. How many people, when they take off, slide left, slide right, your right, your left. Right. To make sure your controls are functioning properly before you shoot off into the sky.
It's true, but it's everyone is set in a rush. What were you saying, Herman?
You do the tap to find your orientation.
Find your that's afterwards. I'm talking about when you first take off. Slide left, slide right, your left. Make sure your controls are acting as expected.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
It doesn't. Think about it. Now think about it. We want to call ourselves pilots, right? We love that title. Oh, we're drone pilots. But if you're a pilot, be a pilot. Mm-hmm. When you get into a manned aircraft, you activate the rudder pedals.
Yep.
You make sure those control surfaces are working.
They do that all the time.
You operate the stick or the yoke. You make sure, you don't just, hey, everything's good, taxi out, let's take off.
All right, let's go.
And then you feel, some bird shit on my control surface back there, okay, and screwed up my control rod, and now I don't have, a control surface. That's not the time to find out. But see, since we're not sitting in it, is it that we don't care as much?
No,
well, we don't understand how
you know what it is, living and flying in New York City, you know what it is. I gotta get that shot before they I gotta get that shot.
But that's anywhere. Guys are just caught up in the
Yeah, but not only that, we need to do that in the winter as well. How many drones we lost because people just take off in the winter? They don't let it hover. They don't let it hover and near
wait
them
for that battery
and make sure everything settles in.
Exactly. Recovery one,
as
a 107 pilot, it should be in your pre-flight check. If you don't have it in your pre-flight check and you're out there trying to make money doing it, I don't think you're going to be very successful in the future.
Or it's going to cost you premiums when it comes to insurance if you have a habit of putting things down before you planned on it.
But what I was trying to get at before I went squirrel personally with the Hubsan is, it happens with any GPS drone. If you do not have a good calibration or you lose GPS, you need to know how to fly that bird back. And Curtis mentioned something now for the advanced flyer. If you have a Phantom 4 Pro, like all of us here have a Phantom series drone or Phantom period, you have the Addy switch. And I've done it plenty of times. I've gotten to a site and the wind was like 6-7 miles per hour, and I set up at a target and I put it in Addy mode and just let her drift for that cinematic cruising. You know,
well, you're right, because if you wanted to do, before now you have the active track and the point of interest, right, in the spotlight mode we have now, where we can take our hands off and let it fly. In order to get that smooth, buttery turn around, or that orbit around something, you used to have to fly in Addy mode, okay? Because GPS mode could create a stutter.
Right.
So
if you wanted to do
the best was, throw it into Addy and let us slide around. That's right. Real nice cinematic flow.
But Tom, about what you were saying about not being able to do it when it happens, and
you got to figure out.
The biggest the punk will get his drone back. And the reason why I say that is because the guy who's the most scared is the guy who will make it out the pool.
Look, if you want to know what Herman's saying, just go on YouTube and see how many people run into bodies of water chasing their drone and trying to get to it before it actually hits the water.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Your drone goes in the
I've seen the guy jump the gate. And he caught the drone before it hit the water.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
You will learn
dude that was swimming.
Yeah.
It was like
he just ran, jumped the gate.
Yeah, you know what that was? That was an adrenaline swim. Yeah, because I don't think he'd ever swum that fast before in his life.
Yeah, I wonder, did he still have his wallet and his cell phone in his pocket?
At that point, it really doesn't matter. You better have a waterproof phone.
But you see what
it's easier to get a phone back. It's easier to get a phone back with Sprint or T-Mobile.
Right. Isn't that something? I know. Well, that's the thing. It's funny because a lot of us in the New York area, you've flown at Flushing, which or Seafield, which is Flushing Meadows Corona Park. It's the site of the old 63-64 World's Fair. Okay, and there's a lake there called Meadow Lake. There's actually two lakes. Meadow Lake is the one we fly around, and if you lose your drone in Meadow Lake, you could walk out and get it. It's only 4 feet deep, by the way, the entire lake.
We can send Lawrence to get it.
Okay, it's probably
that's only up to
that's only
up
to 3 feet of mud.
You want to hear something funny, Stevie? Really quick. You want to hear something funny? I'm 6'3", right? Now, a 4-foot pool, 4 feet is up to here when I'm on my knees. No lie.
I know you passed
4 feet is up to here when I'm on my knees. I've been in pools with 4 feet water. It's up to my neck right here. Seriously.
And he's still holding on to the side of the pool.
Still ongoing.
Yeah, and he still holds on to the side. Yeah.
I want to bring up something I saw in the chat. Al was talking about being an FPV pilot and making him a better camera drone pilot. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree.
Because FPV, you full control, like you're doing everything.
Yeah.
And with a GPS, you just throw it up. You can have a conversation, get back to it. It just sits there.
Well, that all goes back to what Curtis was saying about getting shots and that you needed to get by throwing the drone into Addy mode and learning how to fly in Addy mode. Those things too would also help you.
But I also think having, go ahead, Herman. Sorry.
No, so say what you're saying.
See, I also feel the more skill you have, think about it this way, growing up playing hockey, I wouldn't have been any good unless
Hold on, Curtis, we will not discuss that channel on here. We did
No, we already gave mention to it, so we're not going to go there.
Yeah,
but
we'll get no more light.
I used to run in the summertime. So Herman, you coach sports. I coached sports for about 20 years, coached hockey. And what I used to also do was run skating clinics in the summertime for 4 to 6 year olds, right? Teach them how to skate. Because if you knew how to skate, you didn't have to think about it then. Then you can learn how to play hockey, right? So it's the same thing here. If you can learn how to maintain control over your aircraft, you become in tune with that aircraft, okay? Now operating the camera is a completely different ballgame because now you only have to focus on operating the camera, because you got the sticks down. Okay, so that's why I think, Stevie, that's a great way to go. And look, they're going to have a huge advantage over us when their DJI FPV drones come.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. But
Stevie, yes, I'm buying that sucker when it comes out.
It looks like a tank, though. It doesn't look like it looks so heavy.
Yeah, because it's got to look. I'm not going to be sitting.
They got to protect that GPS chip inside it, Stevie.
Not only that, I got to have the pieces so I can use my DJI Care refresh. Okay, Stevie.
Exactly.
So it better be more solid.
Exactly.
I was looking. You think they're going to give you the same Care refresh?
Stevie, if it doesn't come with Care refresh, they're not going to have the sales they're hoping for.
Yeah. No, but they might have to make a whole different contract for that.
Stipulation.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they might have to, depending on the safety features it has on it, because people are going to be crashing that thing left and right.
Stevie,
Stevie,
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Camera drone pilots like Tom, you yourself, and one or two others are going to buy it and may never put it in the acro mode or horizon mode, but we'll keep it in GPS mode for the portability.
Oh, see, I didn't think he was going to go that way, Stevie. I thought he was going to say once you and Stevie get it, Tom, you're going to put the rest of us to shame. That's where I thought he was going, Stevie. But hey,
he's way ahead of us. He's way ahead of us. But I tell
exactly,
you this,
his ability to fly smoothly, right? Look at even like Eddie. I've been watching Eddie Nunez stuff.
Eddie's
the smooth flights, man. That's where it's at.
Time to Fly says Care refresh will cost as much as the drone.
Yeah, probably.
No,
probably,
but listen. I was thinking two ways. Either they make a whole different document,
custom Care refresh.
They'll have a whole different
Care
refresh
it'll be crafted to it
for the FPV, right? Or they give you Care refresh when it's on the GPS mode, because they would know when you crash it's at the setting.
Additional Care refresh.
Recovery.
I didn't know I had it.
Recovery One drones. You're 100% correct. It's rated, supposedly rated at 93 miles per hour.
Oh, you ain't getting.
I'm going to tell you. But hold on. I hit a pole in 30 mile per hour winds, doing about 50 or 60 miles per hour, and all I did was crack an arm.
That's it. The frame's made out of metal.
But that was on a lifetime frame. What kind of warranty is going to rely on the frame and the body that is built on?
Recovery.
How much DJI
Care is going to cost? Some of them can't even handle 30 miles per hour.
I believe DJI Care refresh is going to be written this way, Stevie. You have to collect at least 2 prop arms and a sensor, okay, to return.
And at least
you can't, you're out of luck.
And at least one screw.
You got to bring the person that you knocked out with the drone. You got to bring in a stretcher.
That's called an umbrella insurance policy.
Stevie, you'll have to bring a DNA sample on a piece of tape.
Yeah.
From the plastic.
You got to scrape some blood samples and put it on a swab and put some tape over it.
Plastic to recover it.
Listen, guys, we're going to do a drop and get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's already past time, all right? We appreciate everyone for coming through, but Sunday Nights with Those Guys is sponsored by Those Guys. We appreciate you all for coming in. Yes, I am ending early. This might be a regular thing from 5 to about 6:30.
Hey, don't forget Wednesday night is
Wednesday night.
Lawrence's birthday. Don't forget Wednesday night we featuring Shot and a Drop, not dropping a shot.
I might drop by the time the show gets here.
I'm going to save the Jack Daniels for Wednesday.
All right,
I didn't touch it.
And hit that, guys, before you leave. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up.
Yes, please hit that like button and show its support to each other's channels. We appreciate you for coming through. Without you guys, we would not be here. Seriously. Anyone got anything else to say before we get out of here?
We appreciate you all.
Thanks a lot,
just
y'all.
stay
Be
safe, everybody. Stay healthy, stay smart, and fly safe.
Stay Ariel.
United. Stay united.
And by the way, stay the F away from me, okay? Until I see your shot card, stay away from me.
Right, exactly, Tom.
I ended it